Uh, Very good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Sadachar Ujjalamkar, Secretary of the MAIP. Welcome you all on this pediatric dentistry webinar. Welcome all dignitaries on this virtual dais, and heartily welcome all viewers who are viewing this very important webinar. Today we are going to discuss regarding pediatric dentistry in our routine clinical practice. We do come across routine questions regarding the dental problems of a growing child. डॉक्टर माझ्या बाळाला अजून दातच आलेले नाहीत. डॉक्टर ह्याचा दात किडलेला आहे, ह्याला रूट कॅनल ट्रीटमेंट सांगितलेली आहे, तर मी काय करू? तर these are the questions faced by us day in and day out, and to answer these questions we have a stalwarts in this pediatric dentistry today, and let us go to them to ask such questions. I welcome our Maharashtra IP President Dr. Jayant Pandrikar sir on this virtual platform. Today's panelist, pediatric dentist Dr. Rahul Mehta and Dr. Sonali Patil madam. I welcome Dr. Sunita Ingre, today's panelist, and Dr. Chitra Kulkarni madam from Raigad as a moderators. Also welcome Dr. Nilima Bhandarkar, Secretary of the Raigad IP, and Dr. Sanjeevani More, Joint Secretary of the Raigad IP. I welcome today's guest, Dr. Samir Dalwai sir, who has a suspense dialogue. So we are eagerly waiting for his suspense dialogue. And I welcome our backbone of this webinars, Dr. Jay Bhandarkar, and also the Dr. Mahesh Moite sir, who are the backbone of these webinars. Over to Dr. Jain sir, please. Jain sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sadachar. Today's webinar as guest of honor, Joint Secretary of the Central IIP, my friend Dr. Samir Dalwai. Then today's guest speakers who have come to our Maharashtra IP platform, they are pediatrics dentists, pedodontist Dr. Rahul Mehta and Dr. Sonali Patil. Then I welcome today's moderator, Dr. Chitra Kulkarni madam, and President of Raigad IP, Dr. Sunita Ingre. And of course, Evergreen, I welcome Dr. Jay Bhandarkar. The moment I said Evergreen, just started laughing. Yes, you are, sir. And you are the backbone of this webinar. I welcome Dr. Mahesh Moite sir, Dr. Nilima Bhandarkar, Dr. Sanjeevani More. And of course, I welcome all the viewers who are watching this our webinar. Keeping the tradition of something new, so Maharashtra IP has come this time with a pediatric dentistry. Till now, we have finished pediatric orthopedics, we have completed pediatric orthopedics, then we have completed pediatric sonology, then pediatric X-rays. So now we have come up with this super specialty webinar, that is pediatric dentistry, still a mystery. As a pediatrician, my question will be, to what age pediatric dentist is supposed to treat? 12 years, 18 years, or 22 years? This is the first question, please note. I'm just really asking you in my address only. Then there are so many questions as a pediatricians we commonly come across regarding tooth decay, then the role of fluoride, then the delayed dentition. So the things which we try to answer to our patients, but they are very commonly asked by our patients. And we being a primary physician of our kids, so usually these questions they come to us only, and then we try to answer. And of course, ultimately, when we are unable to satisfy them, then we send this patient to pediatric dentist, and of course they treat the patients. Because the common question is, my child is having stains on the teeth, and then my child is having tooth decay. He's 6-year-old, still there's no fall of teeth. So all these common questions are asked. So I request our esteemed panelists, please answer these common questions only. As a pediatrician, I know there is a lot many advances in pediatric dentistry, but we expect these small basic things from you. Once again, I welcome you, Dr. Rahul Mehta and Dr. Sonali Patil, on this MAHA-IP webinar. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Sadachar.
Yes, thank you very much, Jain sir. I request today's guest, Dr. Samir Dalwai, to have 2 words for this seminar.
So, Namaskar and respected President of MAHA-IP, my dear friend Dr. Jay Pandrikar, all my dear friends here, Dr. Sadachar, Dr. Jay, Dr. Mohite, all our other Indian Academy of Pediatrics members, and most important, respected speakers for today, and all the audience members who are watching this. I'm not going to say something very serious because I think last 6 months have been very serious. But what I'm going to say, amongst all the IAP subspecialties, dentists seem to be happiest. कारण ते नेहमीच हसत असतात. कारण हसल्यावरच दात दिसतात. आणि मुलांना दात तपायचे असले तर त्यांना हसवल्याशिवाय त्यांचे दात दिसू शकत नाही. म्हणून आय थिंक दे आर ऑलवेज लाफिंग अँड स्माइलिंग अँड दॅट्स हाऊ द चिल्ड्रन आर रेडी टू गेट देम एक्झामिन बाय शोईंग देअर टीथ. गमतीचा भाग असा की इफ यू सी पोएट्री, देर इज रोमांटिक पोएट्री रिटन फॉर बालों के बारे में है, गेसुओं के बारे में है, आंखों के बारे में है, हर चीज के बारे में है, लेकिन दांतों पे शायरी मैंने कभी सुनी नहीं. एक्चुअली अगर आप देखेंगे तो पैरों पे भी अच्छे डायलॉग लिखे. अगर आप पाकीज़ा देखेंगे तो उसमें भी कहा है कि आपके पाँव देखे इतने हसीन है, उन्हें जमीन पर मत उतारना, मैले हो जाएंगे. तो आज के सेमिनार और हमारे जो डेंटिस्ट फ्रेंड्स हैं उनके लिए मैं कहूँगा कि आप भी एक सेंटेंस बोल सकते हैं कि आपके दांत देखे बहुत हसीन है, इन्हें डेली ब्रश करना वरना कैविटीज हो जाएंगे. थैंक यू सो मच. इट्स ओवर टू सीरियस डिस्कशन नाउ फ्रॉम द डेंटिस्ट.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Samir sir. It was a great message from you. I request Dr. Sunita ma'am to take over the panel. And Dr. Sunita ma'am.
Hello. I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am. You are
Okay,
audible.
yeah. Good afternoon. On behalf of MAHA IAP and IAP Raigad, I extend a warm welcome to our respected office bearers, expert speakers, panelists, colleagues, and dear audience to this out of syllabus webinar. As a part of routine examination, we do peep into the oral cavity, but our main area of interest usually lies beyond the anterior tonsillar pillar. That is, we mainly concentrate on the tonsils, pharynx, and sometimes palate. If we notice any dental or gum problems, we dismiss it saying कि दांतों के डॉक्टर के पास जाना पड़ेगा. But can we do better than that? Surely. Parents look up to us for advice. So we will learn from our speakers about oral health issues in children that we must be familiar with. So there are going to be 2 sessions back to back, followed by question and answers. You can post questions and answers in the question answer section, preferably not in the chat box, and they will be taken up later. Secondly, a sincere appeal to all, do mute your audio and turn the video off. And once the session gets over, you can unmute. Let me begin by introducing our first speaker, Dr. Sonal Patil. She is a well-known pediatric orthodontist from New Panvel. She did a graduation from KBH MGVM Dental College and Hospital, Nasik in 2004, and her master's in pediatric dentistry from DY Patil Dental College and Hospital, Navi Mumbai in 2009. She has more than 11 years of teaching experience as associate professor in pediatric dentistry at various institutes like MGM Kamote, YMT Khargar, and Dhanvantari Parbani. She has published many case reports and articles in national and international specialty journals, and she has undergone specialty training program in prevention of malocclusion by myotherapies and also participated in international training on conscious sedation in pediatric dentistry. She's practicing in New Panvel since 12 years and treats children with her own behavioral management techniques and bring a smile to their faces. Over to Dr. Sonal Patil to begin her presentation.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, IPA members, for calling me.
You can share your screen.
I can. It's visible, ma'am?
Yes, doctor, we can see your screen.
मॅडम मी आलो इथे. मी जस्ट 2 मिनिट बोलून जाऊ का परत? मॅडम इंगळे.
हाँ सर.
हाँ सर, बोला. दाभाडकर सर, बोला ना.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
डॉक्टर दाभाडकर सर, ऐकताय का तुम्ही? ऐकायला येतोय आवाज आमचा?
Sir, my screen is shared, ma'am, now?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Very good afternoon to one and all. Can I start my presentation, sir?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
I'm audible now?
Yes, very much audible.
Very good afternoon to one and all. Thanks IPA Raigad for calling me for these lectures.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. Am I audible?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Dabadkar sir.
I think Dr. Sonal, please
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead with it. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. I can.
There's some problem with Dabadkar sir.
So today's presentation is pediatric dentistry still a mystery. So we all know what is the mystery. Mystery word itself suggests knowledge about oral health remains incomplete. So, sir, you all have already explained the knowledge.
Yes.
1 minute.
Sonal, please continue.
Yes, sir.
Available. Sonal, please.
I think so. Stop share. Somebody has stopped my presentation.
No, doctor, it's still visible.
So I cannot move to the next slide, sir.
You can start resharing.
Okay.
Okay, please share again.
Host has stopped me sharing my presentation.
Yes, so that you can reshare your presentation. Please reshare.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can see your presentation now.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. So today we are going to discuss about the common dental problems in the children's. Here, you all are knowing the first encounter of the child to the medical environment through the pediatricians at every well child visit. All the visits of the infants are to the pediatrician is only for their vaccinations, but it is the first exposure to all the kids through the medical environment only. Pediatricians can incorporate the knowledge about the oral health in day-to-day practice and early detection of the oral health issues, so they can be helped to the oral health of the children. As you all know, the healthy mouth is an important ingredient for the healthy and the happy childhood. So let us go through the oral cavity of the infant. You all are seeing the infants 0 to 6 months of the age. You all can see the gum pads were there. In the gum pads, there will be the two arches are there, the lips, that you all knows this anatomy of the gum pads. But the most of the parents are asking the questions about how to go ahead with the cleaning of this gum pad. They can start within the first week of the birth. Clean with the small gauze and the dental wipes. Nowadays, the xylitol wipes are also available in the market. This xylitol is an antibacterial properties. Adequate pressure is required to remove the film covers on the gum pad. This can be used twice daily for 2 to 3 minutes. Next, go towards the few of the soft tissue lesions that are present already in the infant, and most of these are my own cases that I have been referred by the sir only. Some of the cases like sucking callus is a form. This is the self-limiting lesion that we can find it on the upper lip. This callus is formed because of the improper feeding habit. The child is incorporate the lip, infant is incorporate the lip while during the sucking. Next is this is a self-limiting. As the age of the infant is increased, this will go. The next is upper lip frenum. There is the increased size of the upper lip frenum is also there. This is again reduced as regress in its size. Next is the bones nodule. This bones nodule is the entrapment of the mucosa. gland tissues, and these are again a small papules present on the palatal or the buccal surface of the infant. This is again a self-limiting lesions. Eruption cyst mostly present on the lower incisors. It will regress its size as the teeth will erupt. Next is the ulceration on the ventral and dorsal surface of the tongue because of the sharp edges of the tooth. This sometimes required a surgical intervention, so it's required a referral to the pediatric dentist. Next, we'll go to the oral cavity. In the oral cavity, mostly we see the two types of dentition, primary dentition and the permanent dentition. In primary dentition, we are having a 20 teeth. In 20 teeth, we are having a 2 anterior incisors, 2 laterals, 2 canine, and 4 molars in both the arches. So total will be the 8 molars in the mouth. These are the eruption sequence is also important for the child's good milestones. As we see, the infants is growing, we always tell the parents about the milestones, but we never see the milestones are also related to the eruption sequence of the child. So the first tooth which is erupt in the mouth is the lower central incisors. Then follows the next tooth is a lateral canine. Up to the 25th to 33 months, the second molars are erupt in the oral cavity. So by the age of the 3 years, the child is having all 20 deciduous teeth. This is the complete known as a deciduous dentition period. Next is a permanent teeth eruption. Permanent teeth are the 32 teeth which started its eruption at the age of the 6th year of the child. Firstly, the molars, the 6 molars are erupt. Mostly this tooth is always misdiagnosed with the deciduous tooth. This tooth is erupt at the age of the 6th year. That's why it's called as the 6-year molar. It's also a first permanent molar, and this tooth has a more prone to the cavity. By the age of 18 years, the most of the childs lost this tooth because of the negligence. The parents are neglected this tooth as a deciduous tooth. So that because of this, the tooth has been not treated. Firstly, tooth has been not cleaned properly, and during the age of the 6 years to 10 years, the jump force of the child is increased, and the dental caries has found to be the more in the first molar tooth. Also, the first molar tooth has an importance in the oral cavity. It gives the occlusion guidance, that is a dental terminology, but it helps in the facial structures of the child. It helps in the proper chewing for the child. If the child chews properly, deglute properly, so the digestion of the food will be the proper. So the first 6 molar tooth is a very important tooth. And the next is most of the teeth are first anterior tooth, then the lower anterior. It has a premolar. Permanent tooth has the 4 premolars in upper and the 4 premolars in the lower arch. But the deciduous teeth doesn't have a premolars. Okay, most of the times when the pediatricians are referring the patient, they say the premolars have been infected, but the premolars are present only at the permanent teeth, not at the deciduous teeth. This is the difference that each and everyone should know. Next, we all should know about the difference between the primary and the permanent teeth. The primary teeth are the white in color, and the permanent teeth are the little yellowish and the grayish in color. The size of the primary teeth are the smaller and the permanent teeth are the larger. Most common difference is we can see the mamelons on the permanent teeth, but we cannot see the mamelons on the primary teeth. The edges of the primary teeth are the sharp squares, but the permanent teeth edges are little rounded. That is the major difference in the primary and the permanent teeth. Next, we will go towards the tooth has not erupted in the oral cavity. Most of the patient comes, the tooth is not erupted in the oral cavity. It's just because of the premature birth or low birth weight of the child, some genetic abnormalities, vitamin D resistance ricket, nutritional deficiencies, cerebral palsy, cysts and tumors in the gums, and anemia. Recently, more studies has found that the vitamin D deficiency also correlate with the delayed tooth eruption and maturation and formation of the tooth. Also, there are the few cases like the double teeth are present in the mouth. The parents are complained like मेरे बच्चे के मुंह में दो दांत आ रहे. It is not like दो दांत. The age between 5 years, sometimes 5.5 years to 9 years, we can see the over-retained teeth. These over-retained teeth are the milk teeth. They are already stays in their place, and the permanent teeth erupts at the other side of the tooth. So in such a situations, the teeth which are milk tooth has to be removed. They will not fall automatically because sometimes the child, when the teeth started moving, the child doesn't eat properly from that side. Child doesn't use the pressure on the tooth because the tooth is exfoliate with the pressure theory. If the one tooth is gives the pressure to the other tooth, then the milk tooth is goes off and milk tooth is shed off. Next, we will go towards the extra tooth which is present, that is the supernumerary teeth. For such a teeth, if we will found this required dental x-rays and we will diagnose with this supernumerary teeth. Most of the people says दूध के दांत है, why we have to save these teeth? अभी तो कुछ करना नहीं है. But this primary teeth has a more importance. As of now, since last 11 years, when I started my practice, most of the people are not ready to do the treatment. But eventually, I have found that the people have did their treatment, but they have changed their facial structures. The childs are eating properly, talking properly. Few words like what are the phonetics word? The C, T. These words are also pronunciation has to be reduced when the anterior teeth are having the caries. And after a dental treatment, these teeth have started, these people have started talking nicely. That's why the primary teeth are more important. Also, if the primary teeth are infected, they are having a tooth decay, they will give the pain and discomfort. Other emergency situation, infections, because of that the child might miss the schools. Then these infections might be damage the permanent tooth, and this will be the leads to the malalignment of the permanent dentition. The main role of the primary teeth is to maintain the arch space for the permanent teeth. It gives the space. That's why the God has given us the two sets of teeth. One set is a milk tooth, other set is the permanent tooth. The child is very small, he cannot take care of that tooth. That's why the permanent deciduous teeth are there in the mouth. As the child grows up, the permanent teeth dentition is come up. Next, we will go, the commonly found situation is teething troubles. This teething trouble is, we should diagnose it properly. We can diagnose it with the child's milestone, with the teeth eruption and the sequence. If we found such a signs and symptoms like pain, inflammation in mucosa, irritability, disturbs in the sleep, if the child is started putting the fingers in the mouth and the drooling of the saliva from the mouth, we should at least have a look in the oral cavity, examine the oral cavity. If any signs of the inflammations are present, then we start with the treatment according to this. We ask the parent to rub the gums with the finger. We ask the parent use the cool finger or the spoon and give the massage on the gums. Use the wet gauze. Also, we can use the teething rings. The pill cucumber can be used. In symptomatic patients, analgesic and antipyretic can be also used. Nowadays, choline salicylate, the dental gel is also used as a minor analgesic and it has a good effect. Next is Dentinox teething gel, but it has a anesthetic agent. It has to be used properly. Next is every child has to be examined and then go with the dental visit. As soon as the child first tooth erupt in the oral cavity or by the first birthday, he should visit to the dentist. Most commonly oral disease is the dental caries. Most of the parents are seeing the black spots on the teeth. They found something different. They found the child is more discomfort. the child is more irritable, that time they mostly come to us. This is a dental caries or the dental decay. This dental caries is a common chronic childhood disease. It significantly damages the child's growth. It is a 5 times more common than the asthma. Next is the very commonly found dental disorder is the early childhood caries. It always found in the toddlers. It starts when the teeth erupts in the oral cavity. It just because of the improper oral hygiene practices. It includes when the baby goes to the sleep with the sweet liquids in his mouth, such as the cow milk, formula milk with the sugars that produces the acid and forms the breakdown of the enamel. Most of the people says that this is just because of calcium deficiency or something developmental deficiency, but this is not like that. Developmental deficiencies are different on the enamels. They are typically seen with the features or other features of the child also. But this is the dental caries gives the flex-like removal of the enamel and the soft dentin we can directly see in the child's mouth. So this is not at all because of the calcium deficiency. It is just because of the dental caries. Dental caries prevalence in India is by the 15 years, more than 62% of the kids are affected. So the dental caries is highly affected disease in India. How this dental caries forms? The tooth, carbohydrate, particularly the sugars, and bacteria that produces the caries, it's required a time. Every process requires the time, then only the dental decay is progress. As we all know, the major cause for the dental disease is Streptococcus mutans. Streptococcus mutans bacteria are responsible for the initiation, and these are the transmitted from the mother or the caregiver to the infant. As we all know, the mother gives mother is the not, I'm not saying as the mother is the culprit for that, but mother transmit the infection from her mouth to the child by kissing the child, by using the same spoon. So initially we had introduced not to share the food, not to use the same spoon. The next is a window of infectivity, the time period between 19th month to 31st month, where the infant acquires the Streptococcus mutans from the mother. The process of the dental decay, the bacteria and the sugar produces the acid. This diagram is only for the parents. We can explain the parents about how the process has been occurred. So it's helpful in our anticipatory guidance. The bacteria and the sugar produces the acid. Acid produces on the tooth and it forms the decay. Because most of the parents are saying it just because of the कीड़ा मुंह में आ गया इसीलिए टीथ काला हो गया. It's not like that. It's just because of the food habit of the child. Not just you eat the sugars, but how often you eat the sugar. Because many kids, they eat the chocolates, they eat the biscuit, but the frequency is more important for the progression of this disease. Oral bacteria produces the acid that persists the 20 to 40 minutes after the sugar ingestion. Frequency of sugar ingestion is more important than the quantity what is used. The down there is the Stephen curve, which shows the sugar ingestion is directly proportion to the dental caries. Next is consequences of this infection. Most of the time, the kids come to you with the dental abscess. They comes mostly with the fever and some discomfort in the mouth. But always we have to see the buccal and the lingual mucosa of the teeth. There we will find some inflammation, some boil, some opening. We called it as a sinus opening or the abscess and the buccal and the lingual side of the tooth. This abscess leads the pain and infection, then cellulitis and sometimes the hospitalization also required. These all consequences gives the inability to chew and limitation of the food choice. Most of the parents are complaining about, मेरा बच्चा तो कुछ खाता ही नहीं है, कुछ भी दो वो मना कर देता है, but it's not like that. The child, we have to develop the taste in the child, but the child will not refuse the food. Something discomfort in their mouth because the cavity is in between the tooth. Because of that, the food stucks in between the tooth, and child feels the discomfort and he throws the food. He gives the limitation on the soft diet. He avoid the eating of the hard food. Then the distraction from the normal activities. They bite on the clothes, they bite the nails, they chews the thumbs. It's just because of something irritability will be there in their mouth. Some kids are saying they bite to the other kids. It's just one of the reason when they feel the discomfort, they cannot tell. Many researchers have said that the child up to the age of 8 to 9 years have not complained the dental pain. They have shown with the dental tantrum, they have shown with the biting, they have shown with the irritability by and the screaming either by the parents or observe the fever infection in the child. Next, we will go with the who are the high risk for this dental caries. Dental caries are higher where there will be the suboptimal exposure of the tropical fluoride. Fluoride is a very important substance for the dental caries prevention. Next is a poor oral hygiene, over pampered child, obese child, asthma and allergies. They will often on the medication. This medications which contain the high amount of the sugars, and it directly proportional to the dental caries. Those patients who are already on the medications for since a long time has to be go for the thorough oral examination. Then preterm baby, low birth baby, these babies are have to be go for the oral examination and for thorough prevention treatment plans. Caregivers and the siblings, those who have caries, they will transmit the Streptococcus mutans to the child. Also, poor dietary and the feeding habits are also related to the dental caries. How we can prevent these dental caries? We can prevent it, education and increasing the awareness about the infant oral health care measures. So, if we all know infant oral health care requires, it is not a job of the one person, it's a job of the unite together. So we all are partners in prevention of the dental diseases. So let us together start with the prevention of the dental diseases by regression and the progression of the Streptococcus mutans. First is oral diseases. Risk assessment we can do by visualizing the teeth of the child. If we can see the white spots on the teeth, that means the child is there in the first stage of the dental caries. The Streptococcus mutans level in the mouth is the more, so that the tooth demineralization has occurred and the child is representing the first sign of the caries. At this stage, we can use the preventive strategies and we can reverse this process. We can make the healthy tooth. Next is the brown spots. These are the restorable. You have to refer the child. Severe damage cases that needs the radiographic interpretations and further treatments. Next, anticipatory guidance is a very important part where the parents are also involved. We can talk with the parents about the eruption and its sequence and the oral development, anatomical structures. We give the answer to the parents about the teething problems. Then oral hygiene methods, brushing techniques, fluoride exposure of the child. We can take the information from the parent and then we can evaluate the preventive treatment strategies. Also, there is the nutritive and the diet habit. The role of the carbohydrate is directly proportional to the dental caries. Next is the infant. How to prevent the dental caries in the infant? Avoid the bedtime and the nap time feedings. Avoid the long and the frequent free feedings. Wipe your child's teeth off after the feedings. Don't put your baby to the bed with the bottle. Give the baby small water at the end of the feeding. Use the bottle at the feeding time only and not as a pacifier. Wean the infant from the bottle and the breast to the cup by the 12th month of the age. As you all will not agree with the breastfeeding, but recently more studies have reported that the mothers, those who are doing the breastfeeding after a 12 month, they are doing in a sleeping posture. That is the directly proportional to the dental caries, increase in the incidence of the dental caries. Because if in that position, the accumulation of the milk in the anterior region is the more, and the sugar in the breast milk in the some amount will be there, and less salivation in the upper anterior teeth of the child, and mostly in the infant, the upper anterior of the childs are more affected. Next is the food habit of the child. We have to change the food habit. We have to be stop the sugar intake, biscuits, more sugary foods. That is again more cariogenic. These preventive therapies like use of the fluoride varnish that we can use in office care measures. Pediatricians are also can use this fluoride varnish. These are available in a simple pouches. It is in a 0.2 ml collide liquids. With the brush it is available. Just we have to retract the upper teeth, isolate it and apply on the teeth. Just it has required hardly the 5 minutes. We required a proper restraint of the child while doing the application of the fluoride varnish. Next is preventive therapy is oral hygiene methods. Oral hygiene methods, we can advise the patient toothpaste and brush. Frequently ask question, कौन सा toothpaste, कौन सा brush use करना है. In market, more toothpaste and toothbrushes are available, but we should be specified with the age groups. 0 to 2 is specified with the few brushes are there, the finger brushes are there. Nowadays, Colgate has removed 0 to 2 toothbrush is there. Then the clean teeth, 0 to 2, in this there is a special toothpaste is also there. Before that, when the tooths are not erupt in the oral cavity, you can clean the gums with the soft cloths, and the finger brushes are also useful if the babies are allowed. In the 1 to 2 years, the parents can perform the brushing for the child with the smear layer of the toothpaste. Toothpaste, any toothpaste will be recommended, but it has to be has a fluoride after the 2 years of the age. Fluoride concentration in the toothpaste will be the 500 ppm from 2 to 6 years. Above 6 years, child can go ahead with a 1000 ppm fluoride. Above 6 years, the child has to brush themselves. The parent has to observe how the child is doing the brushing, and the size of the toothpaste is a pea size. In the 2 to 6 year, the pea size amount of the toothpaste twice a day we can use. Parents can perform the brushing of the child and they can supervise the child. Next is fluoride mouth rinses. Few of the fluoride mouth rinses are available in the market. 228 fluoride concentration is there, or 458 fluoride concentrations is there. These are the useful in the night time after the brushing. Some of the anti-caries measures are also available in the market. They mostly with the IgY antibodies. They confer the passive immunity against the dental caries and immobilize the Streptococcus mutans and disability of the Streptococcus mutans that converts the sugars into the acid. Lastly, I would like to tell you about the dental treatments in COVID pandemic. In these situations, first 3 months totally we have stopped doing the treatments. After that, we started with the emergency patients only with the preventive treatments. In that, we use the minimum invasive procedures. In the minimum invasive procedures, we use the sodium diamine fluoride. This is again a recently added fluoride, but it gives the stains to the teeth. But it has a very good effect in the cessation of the dental caries. We have used the ART procedures with the minimum aerosol generations. ART procedures we use with the special spoons excavators. and special materials are available. And in needful cases, we did the extraction too. Next of the few parts like dental trauma and teeth avulsion, then some habits related and orthodontic topics Dr. Rahul Mehta is going to cover. A few of the dental treatments like after we do the root canal, most of the question asked by the parent, root canal karna jaruri hai kya, दूध का दांत है तो रूट कनाल करते हैं क्या? What we use in the root canal, we use the resorbable material in the root canal, and they will resorb if the child grows. If the teeth will fall, all the materials will dissolve in the mouth. So the root canals are the safest procedures in the mouth. Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Sonal.
Yeah.
The main culprit of caries is carbohydrates, and it's mainly the lifestyle which has really affected the dental
Yes.
health. And for giving a very clear and practical messages also, thank you so much for that.
One thing also I wanted to add, ma'am, nowadays stay home order, the schools are not going. The kids are more on the high carbohydrate, high processed food. And in future might be the dental caries is going to increase. Now the patients are very less to us, they will not report us, but it's they will go to the pediatricians. So if you find out you are having the exposure to such a patient, so you can just give the preventive protocols to them. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Sonal. There will be more questions after the Dr. Rahul Mehta session gets over.
Yes.
I'll hand over to Dr. Chitra Kulkarni to introduce Dr. Rahul Mehta. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sunita, and thank you, Maha IAP. I'm happy to introduce. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am, you're audible.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are audible.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm happy to introduce young, dynamic, and sports-loving pedodontist Dr. Rahul Mehta. He has done his undergrad from YMT Kharghar and PG from JSS Mysore. He is having exclusive pedodontal practice in New Panvel from past 7 years. Has published several research papers and was awarded Best Pediatric Dentist of the Year 2019. A big applaud for that. He is assistant professor in YMT Dental Kharghar and is passionate about sports dentistry and myofacial appliances. Welcome, Dr. Rahul.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a nice introduction. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the organizing members of Indian Academy of Pediatrics for giving me an opportunity for this particular lecture. Lecture. Can I share my screen? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk on the common pediatric dental problems apart from dental caries. This is my place of worship and worship. I've been practicing exclusive pediatric dentistry at my clinic at Panvel. So the contents of my seminar will be on oral habits and its implication, interception of the malocclusion and traumatic injuries and their prevention. So which are the most common oral habits we see? First of all, starting with the definition, habit is defined as fixed or constant practice, which is established by frequent repetition. Whatever we repeat becomes a habit. So why are they delirious to, or why they of such a concern to us? First of all, they cause oral structural changes. Secondly, because of the oral structural changes, the child might not have a social acceptance among their peers, among their family members and their friends, and which causes various behavioral problems. The child might be anxious, the child might be fearful. So therefore, knowing the habits and knowing their implications is very important for all of us. There are various types of habits, as you can see. There are functional oral habits, mouth breathing, tongue thrusting, cheek biting, thumb sucking, finger sucking, and the other habits. First of all, we'll come to the most common oral habit, that is the thumb or the digital sucking. Like it, according to as the definition goes, it is the placement of one or more digit fingers or thumb at the various depth of the mouth. There is about 23 to 46% of children who show this particular habit within the age group of 1 to 4 years. This is very important for us, all of us to know. And most of the children, they actually give up this particular habit once they start the preschooling or schooling. So why it is important for us to know the clinical aspect of the digital sucking? We should know what is abnormal and what is normal. First of all, according to Moyes, the phases of thumb sucking are divided into phase 1, where it is considered to the thumb sucking as normal till the age of 3 years. It is especially associated with weaning and resolves as soon as this particular phase comes up. Coming to the second phase, that is 3 to 7 years of age, this is the most important phase, as we have to prevent this particular habit from bringing about any malocclusions in the oral cavity. And so if we are identifying this particular habit early, we are able to prevent the consequences of this particular habit. So this is the most important phase when the patient comes to us between this particular age group, and we find the clinical features associated with thumb sucking. We have to intervene at this particular age. If we don't intervene, next comes the third phase, where thumb sucking is associated with malocclusion, malaligned teeth. So we'll see what are the clinical features of thumb sucking. Most of the times when the patient comes to us as a pediatrician, we normally see the nail bed for the signs of cyanosis or any of anemias. But for thumb sucking, it's very important for us to see other features, such as the nail. If you see the nail is clean, there is keratinization of the thumb, you can see there is deformity of the thumb, and this is particular name what is called as the dishpan shaped nail. So these are the things which we can see extraorally on the digit when the patient comes to our clinic. What are the intraoral examination? What do we see in the patient's mouth? First of all, we see that the upper anteriors, the upper front teeth are proclined. There will be open bite. Open bite means there will be gap between the upper and the lower anteriors. There is deepening of the palate because the patient constantly applies pressure with the thumb on the palate. And there is decrease in the width of the palate because of the pressure applied by the patient on the anterior part of the palate. And definitely there will be trauma to the anterior teeth because a certain part of the anteriors are being pushed by the thumb. On the mandible, on the other hand, if you see this particular figure, you can see while the patient child is thumb sucking, the upper anteriors, the upper front teeth are pushed outwards, while the lower anterior teeth, they are pushed inside. This is because while thumb sucking, the thumb rests on the lower anteriors and pushes the mandibular teeth or the lower anterior teeth behind. So this is how the retroclination of the lower anteriors looks like. Coming to the lips of the patient, this is very important. You can see that the two lips of the patient having thumb sucking, they are not meeting each other. That means they are incompetent. Secondly, the upper lip is short. Thirdly, the lower lip is bulbous and it is hyperactive in nature. Coming on the tongue position, as we saw, there was an open bite. So the tongue always has a tendency to fill in the gap between the upper and the lower anteriors, which results in tongue thrusting and lower tongue position. What are the other effects of this particular habit is, it definitely affects the psychological health of the child, the risk of malocclusion, malalignment, deformity of the digit, as well as there are speech defects such as lisping. Coming to the management part, just a second. Yeah, coming to the management part of the thumb sucking, it's very important to know that this particular habit is normal till the age of 3 years. There should be no active intervention carried out during this age. Habit ceases by itself and the child requires more emotional attention. So this is what has to be told to the parents, that please take care of their child emotionally because they are insecure or they are anxious or fearful. Coming to 3 to 7 years old, this is the time when the child has to undergo certain behavioral changes or behavior modifications, where the child is taught to not to do the thumb sucking by making them sit in the front of the mirror and telling them about what are the deleterious effects of thumb sucking. Coming to 7 years and older, the treatment is classified into reminder therapy, reward therapy, and appliance therapy. Well, like, what do you mean by reminder therapy? Thumb has to be constantly reminded. You don't have to go to the palate. So what we do to that particular, to stop that particular habit, we give certain appliances which actually, it doesn't hurt, but it reminds the thumb, such as the Hyrax. There are spikes or there are oral screens, as you can see, which prevent the thumb from going to the palate and getting the tactile gratification what the child gets. Coming to the reminder therapy non-appliance, suppose if we are not giving any particular appliance, what we can do is we can give bandages like this to the thumb so that the child is not able to get the gratification. We can use chemical agents such as Femite, which is easily available. So that, and it can be applied on the thumb so that when the child sucks the thumb, the child will not get a good taste and there will be no gratification. So this thing is very important. This can be only used in patients who are actually willing to give up this particular habit. They cannot be used in a patient who are non-compliant. So that was about the non-appliance therapy. Coming to correction therapy, it requires the malocclusions which are associated, which are created because of the habit, needs to be corrected by the dentist. The patient has to be sent to the pediatric dentist for the correction of the crossbite. There are various appliances you can see which are used for the correction of the crossbites and the correction of the anterior open bite as well as the proclination of the anterior teeth. Like, coming to the second habit, tongue thrusting habit, I want all the viewers, I have a small exercise for all the viewers. I want them to start their video. Everyone has started their videos. I can see only 4 people. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I have a small exercise for all of you. I want all of you to swallow the saliva. Yeah, one more time. Yeah. Now subconsciously, when you are swallowing for the next time, see where your tongue is touching while swallowing. Yeah. Third time, can you swallow? Yeah.
Yes.
So where is it touching? Where is the tongue touching while swallowing?
Palate. Posterior part
Yeah.
of the
Which
palate.
part of the palate it is touching?
Posterior part of the palate.
Posterior part. Any other answers?
Upper incisors
Upper.
and the just palate just behind that.
Anyone's tongue coming in between the teeth while swallowing?
No.
No. Okay, so the right method of swallowing is the tongue should be touching the incisive papillae just posterior to the upper incisors. That's how when you swallow, that is the correct position of the tongue. But if you are not able to swallow in that particular way and the tongue is protruding between the upper and the lower incisors, that means you are having a tongue thrusting habit. So as given by Prophet, placement of tongue tip forward between the upper and the lower incisor during swallowing is considered as tongue thrusting habit. What is the etiology? It's very important to know. It might be a written infantile swallow. It might be continuation of infantile swallow. It might be a residuum of finger sucking habit. As we saw, there was an open bite with thumb sucking. So it might be continuation of that particular habit. It might be also because of upper respiratory tract infection. This is very important. Most of the child who are having upper respiratory tract infection, they tend to position their tongue forwardly placed because of the adenoids, because of the tonsils. They might not be able to swallow properly. So the tongue is always forwardly placed while swallowing. So this might be one of the reasons. There might be neurological disturbances associated with the tongue, which might cause the tongue thrusting habit. And of course, if there is any abnormally large size tongue which is the patient is having. So there is according to there are different classifications. This is anterior tongue thrusting where their tongue comes in between the upper and lower anterior teeth, front teeth. So this is anterior tongue thrusting. This photo is of lateral tongue thrusting where the tongue thrusts between the posterior lateral teeth. Okay. And that there are again other classification where it is considered simple tongue thrusting where the posterior teeth, when the teeth are in occlusion, the backside teeth, molars are in occlusion while swallowing. This is a simple tongue thrust. When there is no occlusion between the lower and the upper posteriors as well as the anteriors, the tongue protrudes through and through. It is a complex type of tongue thrusting. Coming to what are the clinical features of tongue thrusting, definitely there will be proclination, or the upper teeth will be placed front, and even the lower teeth will be placed forward, because the tongue will be applying equal pressure on the upper as well as the lower teeth. So there is proclination of upper as well as the lower anterior teeth. There will be generalized spacing, which is because of the tongue applying pressure constantly on the upper as well as the lower anterior teeth. There is maxillary constriction. Now, this is because the tongue applies pressure on the anterior part of the palate. There is the amount of force, or there is disturbance in the balanced occlusion, which causes the constriction of the maxilla. There is anterior open bite. There is posterior cross bite. So what does the management of the tongue thrusting habit? There are appliance therapies. There are removal appliances such as Hawley's appliance. There is oral screen which has to be placed in the patient's mouth so that the tongue, they don't bring out the tongue during the swallowing. There are fixed appliances which are used such as creeps, rakes, and there might be TT spikes, same as thumb sucking, but same this particular habit, it has, the tongue has also to be reminded that it has to be in a proper position. It has to be behind the upper anteriors while swallowing. So this, they act as a reminder therapy for the tongue when you are giving a fixed appliance therapy like this. They might be treated with any of the myofunctional appliances such as activators and the bionators. So we come to an end to the tongue thrusting habit. Next is again a most important habit. What we see is mouth breathing habit. So according to Sassoon, definition of mouth is habitual respiration through the mouth instead of nose. It's very important for us to know why do a patient breathe through mouth rather than nose. It might be because of common cold. It might be because of chronic respiratory obstructions, such as it might be due to allergies, chronic infections, deviated nasal septums, enlarged turbinates, adenoids or tonsils, and nasal polyps. So these are the common etiology for the mouth breathing. Typically, the child or the patient shows a long face syndrome. You can see the face of the child is long, elongated, and the face is expressionless. The patient will not have any particular expression. What are the dental deformities? There will be protrusion or the proclination, overbite, open bite, lower tongue position, posterior cross bite, increased overjet, and constricted maxilla. Coming to the lips, there will be gummy smile, incompetent upper lips. The external layers of this particular patients, if you see that there will be slit-like external layers and atrophied nasal mucosa. Coming to the gingiva, there will be chronic marginal gingivitis. Classically, the upper anterior marginal gingiva will be bulbous and there will be rolled out, and there will be heavy plaque accumulation on this particular gingiva. Now the treatment, it's very important to eliminate the cause. The cause might be because of a nasopharyngeal obstructions. So it has to be removed. Otherwise, none of the appliances what the dentist give is going to be helpful for the patient. So that is the first thing what we do. When the patient comes to us, we refer them to any ENT surgeon or pediatrician and ask them to get the nasopharyngeal obstruction treated. Coming to the second one, where we are intercepting this particular habit, we have to give some exercises. We have to teach them certain exercise, deep inhalation exercises, so that the child starts breathing through the nose. There are certain lip exercises also, where the child is taught the upper lip extension exercise, lower lip extension exercise, upper and lower lip exercises, and a paper holding or a disc holding exercise, so that the upper and the lower lips are competent, and so the child doesn't breathe through the mouth. There are, again, for the correction of the malocclusion, this will be taken care by the dentist. We have to use oral screens. We have to use many myofunctional appliances such as activator, chin cup. So this was about the mouth breathing habit. Coming to the bruxism. Bruxism, again, it is very common not only in children but also in adults. So what is bruxism? Is habitual grinding of the teeth when the individual is not chewing or swallowing. So not during function, it is parafunctional habit, you can say. So there are different classification. The patient might be a daytime bruxer or a nighttime bruxer or nocturnal bruxer. What are the clinical manifestations? What we have to see in the teeth, that the teeth will be mobile, the teeth will be having occlusal facets, teeth will be sensitive, and there will be atypical wear facets on the teeth. You can see this is how actually how much attrition the teeth have undergone, and definitely the patient will be complaining of sensitivity because of the upper layer of the tooth, that is enamel and the dentin getting wear off. Definitely there will be other clinical features. The patient will be, if a patient is a nighttime bruxer, in the morning when the patient gets up, there will be severe headache, muscular contraction type. Other signs, like while sleeping, there will be sign of grinding and tapping of the teeth. There will be soft tissue traumas associated, and small ulcerations can be seen on the buccal mucosa opposite the molar teeth. Coming to the treatment part, it's very important to do coronoplasty, high point corrections done by the dentist. We have to give what is called as the occlusal splints or the night guards. Now, how these night guards are going to help? They are going to prevent the upper and the lower teeth come in occlusion so that the grinding is avoided, and so the consequences of the same. There are also temporomandibular appliances which are to be given, which help to prevent any particular damage to the temporomandibular joint. Coming to the lip habits, again, this is a common habit in children when they are anxious, especially when they are preparing for their exams, they will be doing the lip biting and the nail biting. So what particularly we see in lip biting is the lips are reddened, irritated, chapped, and there is the vermilion border is relocated outside the mouth due to constant wetting of the lips, and they are hypertrophied. And if you see in the photo on the right hand side, there is deepening of the mentolabial sulcus. This is because the mentalis muscle especially is very hyperactive, because the patient constantly does this, and so the mentalis muscles become hyperactive because of that. And there are definitely various malocclusions which are associated with lip biting. So again, for treatment part, we have appliances like oral screen, which is very commonly used for any type of oral habits. If we see, it can be used for thumb sucking, it can be used for tongue thrusting, even ear, lip biting. We can use this particular oral screen appliances. And there is a lip bumper. Now, a lip bumper is a plate which is placed in front of the lower anterior, and it keeps the lower lip apart from the upper teeth so that it doesn't bite onto the lip. So this was about a few of the common oral habits which we see in children. It's very important for us to intercept and to prevent and diagnose these particular habits at a very early age so that they can prevent the malocclusions associated with the habits. Coming to few of the others which should be taken, few of the other malocclusions which should be taken as an emergency are, first of all, space management. Here in this particular photo, you can see the child has lost his second primary molar. Okay, this was at the age of 4 years. Now, if you see at the age of 8 years, what is happening is the posterior tooth, that is the permanent first molar, is moving ahead. It is moving ahead. So what is happening? The space is getting closed. The space was for the premolar, second premolar, which was going to erupt at the age of 10 years. So the space is closed, and the premolar might not erupt in future, or it might erupt buccally or lingually. So this is if you see a particular patient like this, the patient has to be given a space maintainer. You can see there are these are the appliances. This is a space maintainer where the wire component maintains that particular space between the permanent molar and the adjacent ahead primary molar, so that when the tooth comes, it will come in between this particular space maintainer, and once this tooth comes out in the oral cavity, this particular space maintainer can be removed. These are different forms of space maintainers. Again, if there is a loss of space, if the tooth has moved ahead already, then we have to regain the space. For that, we have space regainers which are there. Again, this crowding of the teeth. Many patients come at the age of 6, 7 years, 8 years, complain. They normally complain, वाकडे तिकडे दात आहेत, कधी ट्रीटमेंट घ्यायची, आता करायचं, कधी करायचं ट्रीटमेंट. So most of the patients have this particular crowding problem. And according to Indian Society of Orthodontics, it has been suggested the first orthodontic consultation should be carried out not more than at the age of 7 years. This 7 years is the first when the first permanent molars have erupted and the upper anteriors permanents have erupted, that is the time when the child should consult a pediatric dentist or a dentist for a general checkup for malocclusion. This cross bites, these are again a form of emergencies, dental emergencies, which has to be treated as early as possible. What do you mean by cross bite? Normally the upper teeth are outside and the lower teeth are inside. When it goes the other way around, when the upper teeth go inside and the lower teeth go outside, this is called as a cross bite. So here you can see there is a anterior cross bite. The upper teeth is blocked out by the lower incisor. There can be a posterior cross bite where the upper tooth is blocked by the lower one. Now, why does it require an early intervention? When you see a patient with cross bite, there is little possibility of self-correction. It is not going to correct by itself. Cross bites in primary dentition can be transferred to permanent dentition. And if you postpone the treatment, definitely the complexity of the treatment in future is going to increase. So as soon as you see these particular dental deformities or malocclusions, the patient has to be treated as early as possible. These are the simple appliances. You can see there is a tongue blade where the child is using with the erupting upper anteriors. The patient is given a simple ice cream stick. With this, the tooth will erupt out, will come out, and it will be coming out of occlusion, and that's how we can treat a crossbite simply with the help of a ice cream stick. There are again other appliances which are used for the treatment of crossbite. These are the expansion devices. These are the appliances which are used for skeletal crossbite correction, external appliances for the correction of the crossbites. This is one of the case where we treated the anterior crossbite with a simple appliance with a spring. Z spring was used. The spring will just push the anterior teeth outside, so the crossbite is corrected. Yeah, so we come to not the end, but almost the end of the particular seminar. What is remaining is traumatic injuries. It's very short. I will finish off in 5-10 minutes, I think so. So traumatic injuries, again, we see a lot of patients coming to pediatricians with injuries to hand, injuries to legs, injuries to eyes while playing. There might be fights among them. So we have to also check for the oral cavity for any of the traumatic injuries. If there definitely will be a traumatic injury to the oral cavity, so it's very important for us to check the oral cavity. So what will you check in the oral cavity in case of traumatic injuries? First, there is class 1, which is simple. There will be just fracture of the crown or just the enamel fracture. This is not at all an emergency. The treatment can be done by a simple filling by the dentist. This is class 2 when the enamel as well as the dentin layer is involved. So here also it's not an emergency. It can be treated by restoration of the tooth. Class 3, here there is extensive fracture of the crown, which involves the pulp also. The pulp is exposed. Yes, this is an emergency because the nerve endings are in the pulp. Pulp is exposed. The patient has to undergo a root canal treatment when the patient is showing this particular type of injury to the tooth. Class 4, that the tooth has become non-vital. You can see that tooth, there is a swelling above the gingiva. That is because of the collection of the abscess above the tooth, and there is discoloration of the tooth. The tooth has actually become non-vital. The tooth has lost its blood supply. So again, it has to undergo a root canal treatment for the for that particular teeth. Coming to the most important, avulsion. Tooth lost as a result of trauma. The tooth has completely come out of the mouth, come out of the socket, and what to the patient, specifically the parents, are panicked. What to do now? Where to go? Should we go to a pediatrician? Should we go to a dentist? The dentist is not picking up call. They will go to a pediatrician. So what to do? First of all, you have to inform the parent not to panic. If they first they have to clean the teeth. Whatever is available, tap water also can be done. Is also fine. Reimplant the tooth. Place the tooth back in the socket and apply pressure for 5 to 10 minutes and bring the child immediately to the office. If the parent is not able to implant the tooth, then the patient they have to carry it in a transport media. That's very important. The tooth cannot be carried dried. If they carry the tooth dry, That means the tooth has lost its vitality because the PDL or the periodontal cells lose their blood supply. So the parents have to be told they have to carry the tooth in a cup of milk, which is easily available. So what to do at the site management at site? Replant immediately if possible. If not, carry the particular tooth in a transport medias. Now there are different transport media. HBSS solution is there, milk, saline, saliva itself. The patient can keep the tooth inside the vestibule and the patient can bring it to you. Or water. If nothing is available, then it's water. It's the least which is preferred, and most easily available is milk. So ask them to carry the tooth in milk. Once the patient comes to the dental clinic, the tooth is cleaned properly, it is reimplanted, and a splint has to be given. The tooth has to stay out of occlusion, out of function for at least 7 to 14 days, and then we have to accordingly follow up the patient. Class 6 here in this particular classification, there might be a root fracture. The root has fractured. In this case, also the patient has to undergo a root canal treatment as well as a splinting has to be carried out. Coming to class 7, there is displacement of the tooth with neither nor crown fracture. The total tooth has been displaced inside the socket. So it has to be brought into occlusion, and again a splint has to be given. Class 8, there is complete crown in mass fracture. Totally the crown has been fractured. Again, this is an emergency. It has to undergo a root canal treatment, and traumatic injuries to primary teeth injuries cannot be neglected because the sequelae of trauma to primary teeth are also seen on the permanent tooth. If there is any particular intrusion or the tooth goes into the socket, it might be hitting onto the tooth bud of the permanent tooth. So that in that particular case, if it is hitting the particular permanent tooth bud, the tooth has to be extracted. In case of avulsion, if the tooth has totally come out of the socket, it is in the hand, it has fallen outside, there is no need to reimplant it. There is no need to reimplant it. The reason being, if the tooth is placed back inside the socket, again it can cause injury to the permanent tooth bud because the patient might not be knowing how to place it, and a radiograph has to be taken for all that things. And thirdly, there are chances of ankylosis. The tooth might fuse to the bone. So if that fuses to the bone, the permanent tooth will not come into occlusion properly. So we will have to extract that particular tooth, primary tooth, for the permanent tooth to come out. So how will you prevent traumatic injuries? Again, the malocclusions has to be identified early. Any of early diagnosis and treatment of systemic conditions like epilepsy has to be identified as early as possible. Safe environment, there should be no sharp edges of furniture, safe playgrounds, and prevention of dental trauma. You can use mouth guards. As we see, most of the wherever there is a contact sports like boxing or hockey, the players use a mouth guard which is placed to protect the upper anterior teeth, which are more prone to the trauma. So that is how the pediatric dentistry has been evolving over a period of time. It is just not related to dental caries anymore. It has a wider scope, like their early detection of malocclusions, early detection of habits, and prevention of traumatic injuries. And still further, there are a lot of things coming up in pediatric dentistry. So with this, I would like to end my presentation. As it goes, together everyone achieves more. It is the right time for a pediatric dentist and pediatricians to come together to give the best overall health to the children. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul. And it was a quite elaborate presentation. We got a lot of pearls of wisdom from this. Over to Dr. Sunita for question and answers. I think only 10 minutes are remaining, so I need not sum up. You can directly go for question and answers.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul and Dr. Sonal for a very nice presentation. We have got some few questions in the chat box. If we would care to answer it. Dr. Sonal, are you there?
Dr. Rahul, can you please stop sharing screen?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
राहुल आन्सर करतील तोपर्यंत. मॅडम,
Okay, okay,
डॉक्टर
fine.
सोनके लाईट गेली काहीतरी
All
इलेक्ट्रिसिटी
right, all right, all right. Oh, okay. There are few questions, Dr. Rahul. What is the upper age cutoff for eruption of tooth? Means when do you call that it's too late and need to investigate, and what investigations would you order?
Generally, by the age of 3 years, all the deciduous teeth are there in the mouth. So the last tooth to erupt in the oral cavity is your primary second molar, which almost comes by the age of 28 months. So almost by 3 years, we can wait. If there is no eruption, no teeth visible after 3 years, that means there is some problem, systemic problem associated. Because in certain conditions like ectodermal dysplasias, there are other signs also which are clinically visible. There will be lack of hair, there will be lack of sweating. So that also has to be considered. Any particular anomalies other than dental has to be checked.
Madam, can I ask one question?
Yes, sure.
Just regarding this question only, how much delayed we expect eruption of teeth in preterm babies, Dr. Rahul? In preterm babies.
Preterm babies, sir, again, you cannot, there will be delayed eruption, but you cannot say as such how long it will be, or as long as it is the teeth are coming by 3 years, everything is fine. And if we want to confirm whether teeth are present or not, we can take an OPG or orthopentogram of the patient, and the teeth will be easily visible whether they are there or not.
Point well taken. The next question is from Dr. Pandrika sir only. What is tooth quality and how to grade it, and what is its importance?
Tooth quality as such, every tooth has enamel, dentine, and pulp. Coming to quality related to caries, there are different type of caries. Accordingly, how it affects which part of that particular tooth. So there is, as Sonal Madam had explained, it's initial enamel caries where it is just white spots are present. Second, dentinal caries when it has gone deep into the dentine. And thirdly, there will be pulpal involvement. Once the pulp is involved, the patient will be having continuous pain. That is the time when we have to go for intervene for root canal treatments. So as such, quality, you cannot have a quality of tooth. The tooth, every tooth, as such, the primary teeth are calcified even before birth. And permanent tooth starts calcifying at birth. So it again depends whether the mother has undergone any particular, was on any particular medication, tetracycline medications, or the child was having any serious systemic problems or hospitalized during first year of life, or child was in NICU. These particular patients, we have seen these patients have enamel hypoplasia. They are called hypomineralized teeth, specifically affecting the upper incisors and the molars, because these are the teeth which are getting calcified during this particular 1 year of life. So there will be problems associated with this particular teeth. It is called molar incisor hypomineralization.
Okay, sir. Next question is, does frequent courses of antibiotics cause deleterious effect on enamel?
Actually, it's not the antibiotic, it are the sweeteners which are used along with the antibiotics. Most of the sweeteners, sucrose is used. So that to make it compatible for the patient. So they like the taste and they take the medicine. So it's actually not the antibiotics, it's the sweeteners which are added, which causes problem. So we can go for non-sweetening agent like xylitol, sorbitol, which can be added to the syrups which are been given, and they will be actually helping the kids to prevent early childhood caries.
Next question is like, what are the causes of yellow discoloration of tooth and how to prevent it? I think mostly.
Yellow discoloration, again, it can be intrinsic or extrinsic. Intrinsic means why it will be it can be a developmental problem when the tooth is getting calcified. So it might be an amelogenesis imperfecta. It can be dentinogenesis imperfecta, where the enamel and dentil formation is not proper. That is intrinsic staining. And extrinsic means there might be because of yellow staining because of calculus. It might be because of smoking habit. It can be because of tea, coffee. Frequent tea, coffee drinkers do have yellow staining. And actually, permanent teeth are yellowish white in color. They are never white in color. Milk teeth are milk teeth. They are white in color because the refractive index is same as that of the milk.
Late weaning and use of mixer ground soft food. Do these factors cause late eruption of teeth? Late weaning and mixer ground soft food. Mother usually grounds the food in the mixer and give it to the child, even though the child can chew. So does it cause late eruption of teeth? Is that a factor?
It's not related to eruption, any particular quality of food which is given. It can actually lead, the child might not develop proper muscular functioning. The child facial features is all develop depends upon how you chew your food, how you swallow it. So that swallowing pattern and chewing pattern is not developed, and over it can be seen on overall facial features of the child. So it, as such, it is not related to eruption of the teeth.
Okay. Then another question is, how frequently teeth are to be cleaned at dentist clinic? Is it necessary?
Any checkup has to be for like, again, for children, the risk assessment is high risk, moderate risk, and low risk. So if the child is having all 20 teeth decayed and we have done a dental treatment for them, they have to be followed up minimum after every 3 months. 3 months, 6 months, and a year. So it depends upon the risk of the child, how much the patient is having problem and how much dental treatment the patient has undergone. Because for as such pediatric patients, pediatric dental problems, follow-ups are more important than treatments. Even pediatric dentist, if we treat, patient don't follow up, again, it's very difficult how much they have maintained the particular treatment what we have given to them. Coming to, as such, in general, 6 monthly, it's you have to visit a dental clinic for a general checkup, and oral prophylaxis, that is scaling of the teeth, is recommended every 6 months.
Point well taken. Any panelist has got any questions for our speakers? They can come ahead.
I have a question. Hello. Can I speak? Yes.
Yes.
Rahul, what is about the new some drug pharma companies released that no decay tablet, like decay hota nahi hai, whether it's a treats, whether it prevents, right? They're all chewable. Some.
Then again, no decay, they will be using most importantly, there will be non-sweeteners which are being used. Xylitol, sorbitol, xylitol chewing gums are also available. Xylitol tablets are also available. So they are like, or in orbit chewing gums are there. Then even Happydents, xylitol. So these are all xylitol containing chewing gums and tablets, which actually xylitol, even though it is a sweetener, it will reduce the amount of tooth getting exposed to acid. So definitely it will reduce the acid production by affecting the decrease in the number of Streptococcus mutans, which are the organisms which cause dental caries. And secondly, they have remineralizing effect on the tooth. So once you have a xylitol tablet, you have xylitol chewing gum, what it causes remineralization of the initial enamel caries which has caused. So that's how actually they act.
Can I add in this, sir? So you are asking about the no decay tablet, the production by the Inspira Healthcare that I have included in that. It acts on the Streptococcus mutans. It has the IgY antibodies.
Okay.
Actually, they have developed it with the yellow egg yolk, and they have a study on that. IgY antibodies has directly proportional to the Streptococcus mutans like formations. The IgY antibodies acts on the Streptococcus mutans, so that there is a reduction in the dental caries, and it has a very good support, and they are having a good statistical value also.
Okay.
But I'm having a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for Dr. Sonal. Do our lactobacillus, which we use in as curd or buttermilk, will help to prevent the caries?
Yes, ma'am. There are the results are there. There are the studies on that. But this replacement of the bacteria, it called as the replacement. How the dental is active when there will be the count of the Streptococcus mutans is more. If we will replace the Streptococcus mutans with the lactobacilli by rinsing of the mouth with the curd, with the rinsing, giving the child with the probiotics, and with that effect, there will be the reduction in the formation of the Streptococcus mutans. The colonization of the Streptococcus mutans is reduced. There are more studies on that, and it has a very good effect. I advise my patient if you don't like to eat the curd, but do with the rinsing with the buttermilk.
Okay. There is one, I think we still have time for some more question. There's one question in the chat box. Is there a role of sealants to prevent dental caries, especially in a child with special needs who may have poor brushing habits?
Yes, as soon as the tooth erupt in the oral cavity, or they are having the deep pits and fissures on the tooth, they are more prone to the caries. So the carbohydrates are very soft, they stuck on these fissures. So we can clean it. It is a very easy methods. We just have to clean it with the airs, and we just fill it. We just seal that pit and fissures. And also these pit and fissures are nowadays available with the fluoride containing. Again, add on it that, so it has a good effect on the life of that tooth.
One last question, Dentonic, the common thing which is advertised. What is it exactly?
Just like a holistic effect, ma'am. If the mother is more cranky, then if we don't have anything for the child, then lelo. It's just like that.
Madam, right.
Madam, I have one question.
Yes,
Will
sir.
you recommend pacifiers for crying child?
No,
Okay.
no, we are not recommended specifiers. It has an adverse effect on the child's oral habits, oral structures, and also it is more related to the dental caries also.
And I have one question. What is the role of antibiotic in dental caries or any dental infection, whether it's abscess or caries, painful tooth? Many times antibiotics are prescribed. Which antibiotic and for how many days? Right.
Mostly, sir, we prescribes the amoxicillin and clavulanic acid. The augmentin we prescribe for the 5 days dose according to age and weight of the child, and we add up on that the metronidazole, because some of bacteria are there, so that have been not, studies have shown that have been not symptomatic with the augmentin and clavulanic acid, so we have to add it on the metronidazole in that. So it has a very good effect when in the cases, especially when the child is having a buccal abscess.
Okay.
See, sometimes the child comes only with the buccal abscess in most of the child actually. If we see the 15 patient, 9 to abscess, lingual abscess, in such a cases, if we add the metronidazole, it has a very good effect. It is available in the local ointments also. So I always drain the abscess from that buccally. I drain the abscess from the tooth also, and I start with the local ointments with the metronidazole.
Question
I
box
have
is
a
a
point to
question.
add. Whenever there is localized collection of an abscess, there is no need to give any antibiotics.
Antibiotic. Okay.
When
System
it's
antibiotic.
only phase any space infection is there, then only actually we should prescribe antibiotics, because once you start with the draining the abscess through the tooth, the pain as well as the swelling subsides within some time. So buccal abscess as such is not localized collection of an abscess is not an indication for antibiotics for any facial space
Only
infection.
ointment is required after a draining of the abscess that we give, and before, if we have not seen the abscess has not completely formed, the child is in a fever and the pain, then we start with the antibiotics.
The role of vitamin D in caries tooth or some delayed dentition or some maybe soft
Yes,
enamel
sir.
like that.
Yes, so it is a directly proportional. Vitamin D helps in the mineralization of the tooth. It's a calcium and the phosphate which required for the mineralization in the enamel and the dentin formation. There, mostly the vitamin D is required, and if the vitamin D is less, and in such a cases there is a hypoplastic spots formed in. Secondly, the less of the tooth also. There are the more cases have been reported.
Thank you, madam. I mean, both this, any more questions? I think we do not have time also for it.
Right.
Both the speakers have cleared the mystery around the dentistry part and have given very practical and useful tips. Now we go to the last part of the program is the vote of thanks by Dr. Sanjeevani More. I think DIP host must be happy that we are finishing on time. Over to Dr. Sanjeevani.
Thank you, ma'am. I express my sincere thanks to Maharashtra IIP to give IIP Raigad a chance to conduct this academic activity. I thanks to Maha IIP President Dr. Jayant Pandarikar sir and Secretary Dr. Sadachar Ujalambikar sir. Thanks to today's guest Dr. Samir Dalwai for blessing the occasion. Thanks to today's speaker Dr. Sonal Patil and Dr. Rahul Mehta for excellent webinar. Thanks to Dr. Sunita Ingale ma'am and Dr. Chitra Kulkarni ma'am for moderating the session. Thanks to Dr. Dabadkar sir, Mohite sir, Vinayak Patil sir, Jay Bhandarkar sir, Nilima Bhandarkar ma'am for attending the session. Thanks to all my seniors and colleagues. Thanks to Ms. Archana from DIP for providing the support. Thanks to wonderful audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Now come to the end of the program.
Thank you.
We're on time. So
Thanks to Dr. Pandrikar sir again. Calling me since that chalo jay ek course so 4 दिवस आहेत seminar webinar arrange कर बाबा. Thanks, you can call.
I know you can do that, that's why.
नाही सर पुढचे तयार आहेत तुम्ही मला कॉल करा I will arrange it.
बिलकुल. Thank you, Dr. Rahul. Thank you, Dr. Sonal.
Yes, sir.
Very
Thank
nice
you.
presentation.
Both of you.
Thanks to Bhandarkar sir also. He has given me support because I am also lagging of the time also. I work after 4 o'clock every day. And sir has wait yesterday night also to teach me how to go ahead with the seminar presentation on screen. And luckily the lights are also off.
Okay. But it was an excellent presentation, right? Very good content and very good take-home messages, right? Thank you very much for joining. Both of you. I given a lot of less time to you, but time was less because orders from the upper se order आया था. आपको करना है. There was no choice for me, but they know that
this time brings out the best out of us.
Right. नाही but experts are like that only ना. Emergency मध्ये लगेच तयार असतात त्यांना expert बनतात, right? So you both are expert. You batted well and also we fielded well also, right? Thank you very much for this and thank you very much, sir.